All right, folks. So excited for this evening's new agent checkpoint. So we do this pretty much every other month, and we take the agents from the previous month. And what we do is we really like to unlock and unload a couple of key information as far as really making sure that your journey is exactly where you want it to be. Again, our biggest thing is not you exceeding at our expectations, but you really exceeding at the level of your highest standards and bringing out your natural best. That's what we're all about here at North American Senior Benefits. It's exciting. It's refreshing. I just saw Andrew Everhart get his dream car. It's I'm sure I'm not saying it correctly, but a Lamborghini Huracan Black Spider. So that was actually one of my big dream vehicles. And my kids are like, Mom, that's awesome. Let's get it. I'm like, okay, let's keep growing, that excitement there, as if, the Corvette wasn't cool enough. So Laura, what are you most excited about when it comes to the new agent checkpoint class that these folks are going to be experiencing tonight?
Yeah, kind of like what I mentioned was just focusing on the nitty gritty. I remember being in the field probably 3 or 4 weeks in. It was a cold and dreary day, and I just did not want to be out there. I didn't want to knock the doors. I just wasn't feeling it. And I just remember telling myself, if I can just focus on these few things: leads, presentation, communication, schedule, attitude, and activity. And I would almost sing it to myself: leads, presentation, communication, schedule, attitude, activity. Those were the most important things. And it was like just this light bulb that went off that was like, okay, I got this. It's super simple. I make it more difficult with my feelings sometimes. And that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited to, maybe someone wants to put in the chat if they're just killing it. Like they're straight up, like I'm rocking it, I'm rolling, and I'm getting into the hang of it. But I'm also looking forward to the folks that they're like, they text us in their, in and up thread. I'm getting it. I'm crushing it. I'm excited. It's clicking. Everybody has that moment where it clicks for them. Sometimes it's 3 weeks in. Sometimes it's the 99th day, right? Like you're right there at the end of your learning curve. And it's like, okay, I got this, And so I would just encourage you, whatever we talk about today, take it to heart. And then repetition. This whole business is about repetition, doing the same things day in and day out that work consistently. And the more consistent you are, the more confidence you have in your day-to-day, in your routine, and then you have consistent results. So that's what I'm excited about.
Absolutely. And I see that some folks in the chat are saying that Alex is crushing it. Casey Nip, I know that this is your first week. I remember when I first got my first deposit, Laura, and I just remember saying, oh my gosh, this is real. I know that we talk about it in training, and then once you get out there on the field and you experience it yourself, but there's nothing like that first deposit. And then you just, every single morning, you keep checking your bank account. And even after all these years, I've been with NASB now for since 2013. And it still is exciting. It's almost like, looking at your bank account as if it's Christmas Day every single day. So let's go ahead and get started. So main thing, again, when you're taking notes here, really be intentional with the notes that you're taking, because you're learning from two partners here. Laura Cisco, the girl is making bank, okay? Her and her husband together talk about an unstoppable, unoffendable couple that does what they say they're going to do. And this is why they are where they are in life. Okay. It is not because of the background that they have. It is not because it was popularity or because of their looks or because of their age or because of the city that they were at. No, they made a decision to run, and they didn't care about the person on their left. They didn't care about the person on their right. All they cared about was, we need to take care of our generational legacy. It is up to us. And that's exactly what they did. So it starts with the decision. But also understand that you guys right now are in a 90-day learning curve. You're in a 90-day learning curve. So over the next 90 days, so wherever that starting point was for you, so when you got out on the field by yourself, that was your first solo day, bam, count 90 days. You're in a learning curve right now where this journey feels like an eternity for the next 90 days. If anybody can relate to me on that one, right? It feels like, when am I going to make my first sale? Why is the next 2 days? It feels like, oh, but I would say this is, it's going to be okay. Just follow the systems. follow the systems. And again, that's what we're going to be talking about. Your number one goal, please write this down. Your number one goal is 10,000 AP issued. You want to get in that 10K club. You want to have Jordan Smith say your name, that congratulations, you hit the standard, not the exceptional. You hit the standard. Way to go. You're on the 10K group list, right? And then next is you want to start really marching towards that first promotion. So I know Ed Milet says this, and I know Laura loves Ed Milet. If you've not read his book, it's called The Power of One More. Phenomenal book. I know Laura told me about it, started reading it, started following this guy, but he says this: stop being so casual. Stop being so casual when it comes to your work ethic, when it comes to your mindset, when it comes to your daily routine, when it comes to you physically waking up in the morning. What are you doing differently to get a different result? What's your target? So, Laura, back to you, buddy.
Yeah. So this business really, it's about targets and benchmarks. I don't know about you, but I used to be extremely emotional, right? Hey, listen, I am a female. Females, I mean, we're like the best. It's okay. You know, we know this already. Sorry, guys, but we're emotional creatures. And so sometimes you have to learn to take the emotion out of the business and really focus and harness these targets and these benchmarks that actually make you successful. Sometimes we put the emotion behind getting a no versus doing the numbers that are necessary to get the yes that's actually going to put money in your bank account. Can I get an amen? Like, and to be honest, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I see you. Who was that? Jason. I remember you from New Agent Training. All right. I saw you on WhatsApp. I'm not on the Dreammakers WhatsApp as much, but I saw you posting some sales this week. So good job. But it's all about benchmarks. Like, seriously, making sure that that is like your hell or high water, your non-negotiable. So some of those benchmarks we're going to go into a little bit more is that 3,500 AP. I remember getting in the car with Ashley when we were field training in the very beginning 8 years ago. And I remember her saying, if you write 3,500 a week in premium, you will never worry about a chargeback. And if you do 5 to 6 applications, you'll never worry about a chargeback. In my opinion, you're not in the green until you've written 3 policies, right? So your first policy, it's paying your leads. Your second policy is, you know, your gas or, you know, whatever the case is. Your third one, it's going to cover a chargeback. So you're really not in the green until you write 3 policies. And so look at your trackers, which we'll go over in a little bit too, is, you know, that's another benchmark. It's 10 presentations, 3,500 AP, 5 to 6 applications, and knowing that you're not in the green, you're not making money until the third application of the week, right? That's really, really, really important for you guys to understand. Extremely, because sometimes you'll have folks where they come out the gate and they're like, I'm rocking it, I'm rolling. I did 5,000 this week, and then I did 1,000 this week, and then I did 2,500. Long as it averages out by the end of the week, you know, at the end of the month, that, you know, you're at that 20K submitted, but you have to know these numbers, just like how I'm throwing them out here like this. I don't care if you're only 60 days in, you should know these numbers like I know these numbers. You've been in here long enough to know that these are the benchmarks, and it helps you actually get the results, and you're not, you know, underwater. Let's see here. People can tell what your standards are, right? You've all seen that guy or that girl that has, you know, the partner, and you're like, what is that person doing with this person? You know, you've seen it, like it ain't matching. There's so much potential in this person, but yet their boyfriend or their girlfriend, like the standards that they have for them is extremely low, right? You've all been there. You've all seen that. It's the same thing when it comes to business. So have some self-reflection on, what are my standards? Am I hitting the benchmarks? Am I hitting the standards that are necessary in this business? Okay. That's how you go from good to great. It doesn't take doing 10K a week. Now, we love having these 10K incentives where, you know, if you can write 3,500, you can write 5,000. If you can write 5,000, you can write 10,000 in a week. I truly believe that. But living between 3,500 and 5,000 is going to make you 6 figures in this business. That makes you great, right? Doing consistently day in and day out. All of my top agents. So my husband was a top agent on our team for 4 out of the 7 years. He rarely had 10K weeks. Our top agent right now, Greg DiTomaso, number one agent, Brittany Payton, number one agent, they very rarely have 10K weeks, but they are consistently doing 10 to 15 presentations, and they are consistently doing 5,000 AP. They're on the leaderboard. They're not always in the top 5, and they're not always submitting so much business, but they're keeping more business. So clients will perceive you how you perceive yourself. Clients will perceive you how you perceive yourself. So do you perceive yourself as the expert? Even though you're in your first 60 to 90 days, that's okay. You still know more. Remember new agent training. I already told you, if you're on with me on day 2, you've passed the exam, right? You've done all that. The senior hasn't done that. You already know more than they do. You do. And then you have 5 experts in a text message thread that you have at your fingertips that verify and build you up. So you are the expert. I think that's really, really important for you to focus on. Don't compare yourself to other agents. Don't compare yourself. Now you can have a running mate. I'm all about having a running mate. Someone that started at the same time that you're at, going where you're wanting to go. Maybe they're a few months ahead of you. Maybe they're they're in their first, going into their second year, or you're in your first year. Find yourself a running mate, but don't compare yourself. And remember, sometimes they're in year 5, you're in month 6, and it's totally okay to not be in the same area, right? But find a running mate, but don't compare yourself. Hard is just a series of small events that are easy. How many of you guys need to hear that? Can you do the small, easy steps that are day to day? When you look back, you're like, frick yeah, that was hard, right? Doing 10,000 in a week, even doing 5,000 in a week sometimes is not easy. It can be difficult, but it's simple. And it's a series of small decisions, these small decisions daily, even sometimes hourly, to stay in the field, right? Is what's going to make you successful. Focus, follow one course until successful. Follow one course until successful. We have a course with the 5 pillars: leads, presentation, communication, schedule, attitude, activity. You will never hear us coach you on anything other than those 5 areas, okay? So when in doubt, know that that's what you're going to get coached on. That's what you focus on. Focus on those until you're successful in all aspects of the 5 pillars. Do you consistently buy leads? Do you know your presentation? If I were to call you right now, can you give me the 10 steps, and can you give me your 2 transitions at living benefits and life insurance? Okay. Are you in good communication? If I were to ask your direct coach, if you're going to them versus them going to you, right? So there's leads, presentation, communication, schedule. Can I look at your activity tracker and see a pattern that is consistent to productivity? Can I do that? Right? Have you mastered that? And do you have a good attitude? No stinking thinking, because your attitude will produce your activity. You can't have a good attitude and bad activity, and you can't have bad activity and a good attitude. They don't mesh. Okay. Can you master those 5 things? Can you focus on those? Okay. What should your typical day look like? What should your typical day look like? Okay. Proper call ahead, door approach. Proper call ahead and door approach. Those are 2 things to focus on. Do you know your door approach? The 4 A's. If I were to call on you right now, I'm actually going to do it, Micah, real quick. I see you. Rapid fire. 4 A's to the door approach. I know you got it.
Apologize, announce. Gosh, it's because you put me on the spot. Assign, and then assume.
Boom. Excellent job. Excellent job. Yes. You can do announce, apologize, announce, assume, approve. 4 A's. It's super simple, right? You got to know that. If you don't know those A's, guess what? You're going to just fumble at the door, right? You're going to fumble, and that's totally normal to fumble anyway, but you got to know those 4 A's. And a proper call ahead. Don't skip the call ahead. Do not skip it. I don't care who you are. I don't care how good you think that you are. It doesn't matter. You should do a call ahead. Or listen, I'm getting my stuff confused over here. I'm thinking call ahead. I'm saying call ahead, but I'm thinking in and up. I'm so sorry. Okay. You need to know your door approach. You need to have your call ahead and in your phone. Ashley, I'm gonna kick it over to you. I don't know why I'm just completely butchered that, but it's totally okay.
No, I think that was awesome. And, I think also just that proper call ahead, like you said, are you doing the things that you're afraid of doing? And I think so many new agents, because it doesn't work for them maybe one day, guess what happens the next day? They say, oh, well, it doesn't work for me. So therefore, I'm not going to go work this lead type. I'm not going to follow this call ahead script. I'm not going to do the 4 A's to the door approach because maybe you got a little bit of setback, right? And that's really a setup for a comeback. And so when you're looking at the systems that we've been able to really implement and create the golden brick road for you folks over the past 10 years that NASB has been in existence, just follow the systems. Just like what Laura said, it's a numbers game. So can you do a proper call ahead in the morning? Can you do it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon? When Laura's sitting here saying, what does your typical day look like? It starts the moment you wake up. What is your mindset tuned to? It's kind of like, what station are you tuned to? What value are you going to input into your day? Because that's going to result in an output that hopefully is a tenfold return on investment of the value that you're plugging in. Does that make sense? Think about it like this, right? Are you that person that if I go to a Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, I know their steaks are amazing, but if the service sucks, I'm not going to want to go back to Ruth's Chris because the atmosphere has to be set up correctly. It has to be a proper feeling, this feeling that, man, I'm feeling loved. I'm feeling like I'm the only table this server is taking care of. It has nothing to do with the products that we've got. Yeah, we get it. Mutual of Omaha is amazing. We get it that UHL, Gerber, all these other carriers that we've got, they're amazing. But what separates you? What are you doing? And what value are you pouring into what? Your day to really get that return on investment. And again, the proper call ahead, the door approach, proper step 4. You understand that if you're looking at your closing ratios, which we'll talk about a little bit later, but if you're looking at your proper closing ratios, if you're not closing at a 50% ratio, and you can see that on your activity tracker, if you're at 50%, if you're below that line, have you reached out to your direct coach and said, hey, Laura, I'm really struggling here. I'm looking at my activity tracker. It's my first week or my second week, and it's at 30%. Take ownership and say, I need help. You are never bugging your direct coach or that person's coach or that person's above coach. We're here to help you take out your natural best so that you can really feel like you're impacting and actually genuinely doing it and impacting lives out there. The in and up, like Laura was talking about. Are you physically doing in and ups in the house? Or are you just relying on your own experience and your own wisdom of saying, no, this senior's pretty good. They already have life insurance, so they don't need any more, or I can't maximize their situation. You don't have the wisdom and the experience of a Michaela Mobley, Kaylin Britton, and Asia Hennon. You don't have their experience. So when you call for an in and up, my gosh, you are getting massive amount of wisdom of maybe potentially, wow, there really was a tactic here of how we can help this senior, because that's what it all boils down to. I think that this is a good one. I heard about this from Josh Sherrill, Laura, about, are you willing to run the distance when the distance is unknown? All of you came on board. We qualified, we selected, we equipped all of you that when you came on board, we said, here's your systems, here's the tactics, here's the techniques, right? But you guys have the why. Now, my question to all of you folks is, the challenge is we don't know what your end result's going to be based on your work ethic and based on your attitude and based on how are you really using your daily routine, just like what we talked about. What value are you pouring into that? And are you willing to sprint when you don't even know when that promotion's going to hit, when you're going to hit RVP? Wouldn't that be kind of cool if we just had like this magic snow globe, yes, you're going to hit RVP in the summer of 2025. That'd be kind of cool, right? But it doesn't happen like that, because the neat thing is it's all based on what you do right now. Everything relies on what you do right now. If I don't work out, guess what? I'm going to gain weight. Okay. I'm about to turn 40 in like 2 or 3 days. So guess what? It's a lot harder to lose weight. It's a lot harder to tone up my body. Okay. So what does that mean? If I don't work out today and I don't work out tomorrow and I don't work out the next day, I'm probably going to not be toned. Okay. Do I like working out? No, I do it for the results that it brings. Do you like working past 5 o'clock? Do you enjoy, going into that next presentation, going in and meeting somebody that is a little grumpy? but you're focusing on the result, which is an impacted life and somebody that could be your friend forever. And also, it's helping your generational legacy. And also, can you believe that the purpose is still working even when the purpose is invisible? I love this because this makes me think of progress. And all of you right now, Jason, Micah, Gabe, Cindy, all you folks right now, what your managers, what we're looking at is your progress. Look, we're not looking at you like, oh, this person didn't do 5,000 AP. You know what we look at? We get excited when somebody goes from 1,000 AP to 2,000 AP to 3,500, and they're doing, and they're a product of the system, and they're reaching out, and they're being an incredible student. That's the person I want to be in the trenches with and on the beaches of the world with. That's the person I want to be with, right? Because you're progressing. You don't have a lack of resources. You don't. We have millions, maybe not millions. Okay. Hundreds of thousands of videos out there. Okay. That you can go back to. Needless to say, you've got the management team. The resources are there. If you're not hitting your goals, it's because you are choosing not to be resourceful. That's your fault. That is your fault. You are where you are in life because of the way you think and the actions that you take because of it. And if you're not happy where you are, you need to change this. Does that make sense? So you don't have a lack of resources. It's really potentially a lack of resourcefulness. So I'm going to kick it back to you, Laura.
Good stuff. I don't know why I got so tongue-tied, but maybe it was your turn to give the nuggets that were necessary. You never know who you need to hear it from. Thank God for having multiple people in your ear, right? But this is the thing, guys. This business, not only is about repetition, but how do you create repetition? Through execution. If you don't take this next step, there's nothing to what's the word? To have the repetition on, right? You have to execute. So execute creates conviction, right? Execute creates conviction, and conviction creates confidence, right? So when you execute what you say that you're going to do, you actually start to enjoy it more. So Ashley was saying, you're not always going to want to do the next right thing. You're not always going to feel like it, right? But when you do it, the more you do it, the easier it becomes, and the more you actually like what you're doing. But if you do something inconsistently, so she's talking about going to the gym. I'm going to the gym right now. I'm so happy. When I first started, because I was inconsistent, I didn't like it because I wasn't seeing the results because I was inconsistent. But the more consistent I got, the more I looked forward to waking up and going to the gym. Just like the more consistent you are in the field, consistent you are with your internet, consistent you are with your call aheads, the more you're going to be like, oh, I can't wait. I cannot wait to wake up and go to work. I can't wait to wake up to do my in-and-ups. I can't wait to wake up to do my call aheads, because you're getting good at it. And the more that you're good at it, it's like it builds your confidence. Oh, I can do that. I can get good. And I see the progress of going from 1,000 AP to 2,000 AP. It's uncomfortable. It truly is uncomfortable. And when you're learning something new, it doesn't feel good. And you're not going to like it all the time. But it's like, take that leap. Jump in that cold water. The water gets warmer. Okay? All right, let's talk about trackers. We love trackers over here, right? They're so good because it does help you see where you're at and see that progress. You cannot measure what you don't track. You cannot measure. I remember for years in the beginning, because I'm type A, but I'm also a salesperson. I'm also like, I'm not really the person that's all about the numbers. I had to train myself to be better with that because I was more, like people person versus numbers person. Now I love it because, again, I get excited by seeing the progress. Or when I look and I see, okay, well, the numbers were a little bit lower. The presentation count collectively was a little bit lower. Okay, well, where do we need to move forward? If we're stuck in some area, where do we need to move forward? And if you're not tracking it, you can't see those things. And sometimes we're harder on ourselves. Guys, listen. When we don't track, we actually become like just where we don't have the best insight. We want to think that we're doing worse than we actually are. But when we track the numbers, it's like we're actually doing a little bit better than we think that we are. But because human nature, we're so used to like being more negative as human beings. If we're not tracking that, that's the first thing. A lot of the times I'll look at someone's track and they're like, I suck at this. I'm like, no, you're actually pretty good at that. You just have to do more of it. That's it. But if you're not tracking it correctly, you won't see that. Okay. So what are the trackers that are important? Your daily activity tracker. Your daily activity tracker. We're not trying to be micromanaging. It truly does. We're trying to help you get in the right habits to track the correct things. Okay. To track the correct things. Your coach cannot coach you without it. If we don't have the activity tracker filled out daily at the end of your day, we don't know what happened. We don't know how to see what's necessary for you to grow in, right? And so at the end of the day, you're doing that activity tracker. It trains your mind to see what's most important, and then it helps us, and it also gives us permission to coach you. This business, we're not your bosses. As much as you want us to be, and sometimes as much as we want to be your boss, we're not. I will not coach you without permission. I might see a lot of things that I don't speak on because you haven't given me permission. You have to ask me, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think I'm struggling with? Because if I tell you and you don't want to hear it, you're not going to hear it. Hello. I will be quiet. I will be silent. I'll let you do you, boo, until you're ready to come to me and say, hey, I don't like this result, or I'm in the same spot I was a year ago. I'm doing all of these things. I feel very important. I feel very, I'm doing all the things, but I'm still in the same spot. Until you come to me. So you got to do that. And it starts with the activity tracker. Okay. It also proves how prepared you are for the day ahead. By doing that, you're ready to go. I've got one presentation. I got one down. I need 10. I got 9 more to go. I need to maybe do an extra one today. I need to go for 4. It helps you be prepared. It also shows your blind spots and your hot spots. Your blind spots and your hot spots. What are you good at and what are you struggling with? But again, if you don't talk to your coach about it, it takes time to actually be able to look at a tracker and say, you know what? I'm actually really good at this. Right? I actually have the right data pool of information. I have enough data, because sometimes you might look at 1 week and you have a really good close ratio, but you look at the next 3 or 4 weeks and it's a little bit not as good. Right? And so that 1 week is not enough data. You need more data. So it's important. Let's see here. What else? Doesn't take talent. It's not an art. It's a discipline. It's a discipline at first. Your presentation does become an art. But unless you're disciplined and knowing the steps and doing it routinely, you cannot even create, you can't be creative with it. I'm all about artsy, making it your own, making it art. That's what I love about this, is that I get to go in there and I get to be me with that client. But I can't be me fully and be creative with the client unless I am disciplined in what actually works. Okay. It's a relationship of accountability. Some people hate accountability. They say that they want the accountability, but when it comes, they don't like it, right? And so when you screenshot that bad boy to your direct coach, not only does it get the permission, but you're taking on that accountability. You're saying, gut me. You're saying, give me everything. Give me the good. Give me the bad. Give me the indifferent. Give me it all, right? So I can learn and I can grow from it. The best students too turn into the best leaders. So the more that you are a student in your first 90 days with just tracking the right things, the better leader you can, even if you're just going to lead yourself. Okay. Because we all want to be self-sufficient. We don't want to always depend on everybody all the time. And so it helps you become a great leader of yourself. And then whatever future team, if you ever have one, if you want one, it's right there. It also shows you if you're coachable. When you send that bad boy in, and then not only do you send it in, but you listen to the feedback, and then you go and you implement the feedback. Are you able to implement it? Will you implement it? Or are you going to come the next week with the same excuses that led you to the same results? If you want different results, you have to implement different things or more of the same thing, right? What distractions prevent you from reaching your goals? Your activity tracker will also show you your distractions. Is it a specific time that you're ending the day? Are you getting out too late? You'll see your patterns. Okay, what distractions, when are they happening? Are you working part-time and expecting full-time results? Another great thing about the tracker. Are you working part-time, but you want full-time results? I'm all about working part-time hours, baby. Let me tell you, I want to do less. I want to do more in less time. I really do. That's always my goal, is how quickly can I do something? But you have to put the activity in. The beautiful thing about this business and why every single one of you are here is because you want to have that time freedom, but you have to actually do more in less time. You really do. And so your activity tracker will show you, are you wasting time? Are you taking 10 hours to get in 4 approaches when you could get in 40 approaches if you really want to, if you're executing neighbor knocks and phone calls within, I mean, you could do that in 5 hours if you really want to. People need to understand that the 10 that's the starting point. You can do 20. You can do 20 approaches in a day, but because like the bar is so low, sometimes we'll like make it harder for ourselves. If I have 50 leads and if I call them and I do neighbor knocks, I can get way more than 10 approaches. I can do 10 approaches in 30 minutes by calling with enough leads, right? So hitting the benchmarks as quickly as possible so you can actually enjoy your time and actually get more out of your day. Okay. All right. So that's going to be your daily activity tracker. Don't skimp on it. It's super important. Don't wait either. Like, just fill that bad boy up. Don't do it when you get home before you get out of your car. Do it that way you're not having to think about it. Okay. Your weekly submitted AP tracker. So you've got the activity tracker. Now you got your weekly submitted AP tracker. It predicts your promotions. Anybody here want to hit a promotion? Another goal that needs to be put is a benchmark is to hit that first promotion in 90 days. Within your first 90 days, that's a goal. You should be yearning to do that in your first 90 days. Can I do 10K? And the reason why is because you have a momentum, you have excitement, you have all these things on your side to help you do that. So go for that first promotion right now. And when you're tracking your weekly submitted AP, it helps you predict if you're on track. Okay. Are you on track for that promotion? Look at the weekly submitted AP tracker. It predicts your next promotion. What you want to do is you want to divide that in half. So if the goal is 20K submitted, should yield you 10K net. So that's 5,000 submitted every week. The threshold is 3,500, but you want to live between 3,500 and 5,000 on that submitted tracker. That's what you want to see consistently. Okay. Which is an $83 app a day. $83 of premium. That can be a $50 premium and then a $23 kids app. You can get a 10-year-old that gets 50,000. They're $23 right there, which everybody should be looking for grandkids in every single home because it's a super easy add-on, right? And you don't need the person there physically to do it. So can you find $83 a day? You go out in the morning, put it on a sticky note. Can I find $83 of premium? $50 and a $23 or a 30 and a 20 and a 23, whatever way you want to cut the mustard. Can you do that? Okay. Power nights, they stretch you. It's really good to have at least one day, typically 2 if you can, where you stretch yourself, where you're like, I'm going to go hard. The reason why is it stretches your mentality, your mental toughness, because this business is all about your mentality, mental toughness. So also, sometimes the way that I would look at it, this is the other way to look at it, is doing less and more. Like I said, I would have a small competition with myself. Can I do 5 presentations in the same amount of time that it usually takes me to do 3? So can I be efficient with that time? Okay. That's also a power day. It's about presentations. I don't have the luxury sometimes when your kids are in, travel sports and everything like that. You got to do more and less. So if you can do that, excellent. Okay. Let's see here. Monthly net AP report should bring clarity on how you are as an agent. Monthly net AP report should bring clarity on how you are as an agent. What are you consistently netting? Okay. What are you consistently netting? If you take the example above, your net AP is way lower than your equation. So let's say you're submitting 20,000, but then you're only netting 8. Okay. What's that? Is it consistently? Is it just 1 month that you write a certain carrier? You'll start to see patterns with every single report that comes out. So when you get a report, whether you're looking at your submitted AP that you're putting in personally, whether you're looking at your activity tracker, which is also your submitted, or when you get the gross report of the 10K club of what you've issued, and when you get the net report of what actually places after chargeback, you want to see all those numbers because it's going to talk to you. And then when you look at your book of business, it'll tell you, okay, did I write more of this carrier or that carrier? Is that why I'm seeing this? Right? It's going to help you see, you know, and then you can actually strategically write specific carriers to help you hit promotions, right? And so, but if you're not tracking the things and if you're not using the resources that Ashley's talking about, you will not pick up on these things that help you grow within your first 90 days. Okay. Let's see here. Just like way lower. Step 10. This is always typically a big one if you're struggling with a chargeback or if you're not netting what you need to net based off of your submitted AP. It's branding. Your branding needs work. Are you leaving the house too soon? Are you closing a sale and skedaddling out of there? Or are you slowing down to speed up to ask them, how do you feel about what we went over today? Do you feel good and comfortable about everything that tell me in your own words what we did for you? All of those things, leave behind material, taking a picture, answering the phone when they call you. Okay. All of those things can help you so much just by answering the phone alone. You don't have to have all the answers, but just answer the phone. I had a client this week call me like 15 times because somehow we mistakenly put her as a male instead of a female. We're getting it fixed and it takes 10 days to do that. But I answer every single time she calls, every time, even because that's what it's going to take. It's a $35 application. But if I would have answered the phone and if I would just be, whatever, it's getting fixed, whatever, I could lose that $35 app, right? Branding, not delivering policies. Deliver your policies. If you can't deliver them, put them in the mail, you know, get them out, or don't tell them that you're going to deliver them if you can't. That's the biggest thing, is just be true to your word. Be true to your word. Let's see here. Are you doing enough? Embrace necessary obstacles until growth happens. Are you doing enough? Are you embracing those necessary obstacles? Or are you trying to shortcut them, shortchange them? You know, use them as excuses. You're going to have obstacles. You're going to have struggles. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to end in your 90 days. It's not going to end in your first year. It's not going to end in year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, year 6, year 7, year 8, year 9, year 10. Ashley, how many times do you have to embrace struggles daily in this business? Right? Because you're always growing. You're always growing. So if you're always growing, everything grows, your hair grows, your skin grows, your nails grow, right? Everything grows. You're going to have obstacles that you have to overcome. It does not end. So go ahead and get used to it now. Go ahead and get used to this feeling that you're feeling in your 90 days of feeling uncomfortable, feeling like you don't have what's all necessary all the time, because you're not. You're not. You're not. Hear me. Okay. That doesn't mean you're not going to have results. You're not going to have good results. You are. I'm going to just finish up here. I'm going to kick it over to you to finish up deposit tracker, Ashley. Persistency. Hear me here. Do your policies persist? Now, listen, you're like, what the heck does that mean? I'm only in my first 2 or 3 months. Okay. Your policies, you want to start tracking them and seeing, are they lasting 6 months? Are they lasting 9 months? Are they getting through chargeback time? Are they lasting 12 months, 18 months? Every carrier gives you a grade, okay, a score, 60%, 70%, 80% persistency and placement. Well, all that means is that your business is sticking. The beautiful thing too about, you know, tracking your business and highlighting green when it's approved, or red if it's declined, or if they've canceled, or purple if it's a death claim, or whatever way that you're doing it, or your direct coach tells you to do it. But you'll actually see over time how your placement and persistency is based off of how you're tracking your business. But the carrier, when you log into your back office, they'll show you. And then call them and ask them, say, hey, listen, it's good to check in every once in a while. How's my placement? How's my persistency? Can you tell me what it looks like? Because literally that's so important in this business, because that's how you're paid long-term. The more policies you keep, the more policies you write, obviously, but the more you keep, the more passive income you get. Okay. And so that's important. 7 out of 10 policies should place. You want to get to a 70% placement and persistency. Okay. 70% placement and persistency. Be irreplaceable yourself. The way that you help your placement and your persistency is by you being irreplaceable. Find the answers for your clients. Be the solution to your client's problem, whether that's with life insurance, whether that's after the fact. Do that. Be irreplaceable. Be that person that they know they can call no matter what. Be you. Like if you were talking to your mom or your grandma, you're irreplaceable to them because you're natural and you're you. Just go out and be you with your clients. Okay. It'll make you irreplaceable. Follow up and follow through. Your fortune is found in your follow through. Your fortune is found in your follow through. That means going and, doing those policy deliveries. That means returning those phone calls. That means going and talking to the referrals. Everything in this business is about follow through. If someone falls off the books, calling them, not thinking that, they don't want the policy. Most of the time, it's not that way at all. A lot of times when we don't have the emotional intelligence that it takes in this business, and you have to learn this over time, because I did not have it when I started, but you'll start making things up in your head that are not true. You really will. Okay. And so don't do that. Let's see here. Make sure that you're getting everything done. The replacement forms, the surrender forms, doing the surrender forms in the home before you leave. If it's already been approved, go ahead and send the bad boy in. Okay. Go ahead and get everything done. You're not like me and Ashley in the beginning where we had, 2 weeks before something was approved and everything was, a paper application, and it freaking sucked. Y'all, it's like Speedy Gonzalez. Okay. Straight up like a heart attack. Okay. Anything else here? Efficiency of time in the home. Try to get in the home within an hour and a half. Now, sometimes I know that you're going to be in there for about 2 hours. If it's pretty lengthy, you've got a lot of policies, but start timing yourself too. Once you're getting like your closing ratio in good standing, start timing yourself. Can I get in within an hour and a half and do everything? Hour and 45. Can I then, take 15 minutes to find that next door, whether call aheads or looking for an open door? What can you do to be more efficient with your time? Those are things that you need to be looking at. I'm gonna go ahead and kick it over to you, Ashley, to go over monthly deposit tracker.
Dude, I think I should make you a shirt that has Laura isms. So far, I've had and heard cut the mustard. I was visualizing this. I'm like, how do you physically cut the mustard? You know what I'm saying? We should get a video on that one. And then hear me here. That literally hear me here. I love that. And then skedaddle, skedoodle, skedeedle, skedaddle. Love it. And then, my favorite was last week when you said, listen, what gets my day going is a Starbucks and hearing Britney Spears. So I'm excited about doing that tomorrow morning, and I'm going to video that for you. And I'm going to see if that makes the difference in my morning routine.
Mental triggers. Find your mental triggers that help you pull you out of whatever funk you're in or whatever you're doing. And that works for me. Yes. Starbucks. My windows down, Britney Spears. There you go.
Drop the mic. Folks, we're going to get you out of here by 8 p.m. So here goes the next point, okay? Your monthly deposit tracker. So what we've been able to cover so far is your importance of the daily activity tracker, your weekly submitted AP tracker, and then, of course, the monthly deposit tracker. You know what's so funny, Laura, is we will say this in training, and we'll say, listen, on the first of the month, go ahead and text your direct coach your previous month's deposits. If you really want that massive accountability, go ahead and do that. It does something to you. It kind of like what you're talking about, just that accountability. It makes you show up and take ownership of what just happened, AKA your results. And another thing is it's an opportunity for coaching. And I think this really meant a lot to me. I know that Jordan said this was on one of the calls 2 weeks ago. He said, if you don't take something away from the struggle that you're with or having or enduring right now, you are losing the opportunity to learn something positive. Let me repeat that. If you don't take away something from this struggle, you are losing the opportunity to learn something positive. Right? And don't be so afraid of the criticism, the constructive criticism that's going to come on. Think of it as constructive coaching instead. A lot of people don't like to be corrected. Nobody wants to be corrected. Nobody wants the criticism, but it's necessary for growth. Because if you're not getting the results that you want, no offense, that's called pride and ego that you think you know everything, right? So be open for wanting to have somebody coach you and develop you. Because why? Because they care about you. Because they care about you. So here we go. Monthly deposit tracker. It prepares you for what to change. It's you versus you. It's a competition between you and your deposits. Can you beat better than your best? Listen, there are a lot of people that, they get motivated by revenge. Maybe it's revenue. Listen, I was just motivated by beating better than my best. I was motivated by progress. If I could make 5,000 in 1 month, well, gosh darn it, nothing is holding me back unless it's me that's going to make me hit 6,000 the next month. If I can do 6, I can do 7. If I can do 7, I can do 8. If I can do 8, I can do 12,000. And this is my entire career, is this competition with who? Myself. Tracking your deposits shows you what you need to change today. It proves your work ethic. It proves your studentship. It proves everything. And here's the crazy thing is your actions dictate the consequences that you are experiencing right now, or the rewards or the benefits. The consequences that you had and did maybe a week ago, 3 weeks ago, a year ago, right? You're probably either living in the rewards of that or the consequences of that, right? I choose to have an incredible relationship with Jordan, Greg, my upline, the partners of this organization, the agents on my team. But guess what? I can only control me and my response. And I always want to be the biggest blessing to Greg and Jordan. Why? Are you kidding me? They changed my entire generational legacy line. Legit, they have. So it shows the harvest of what you're sowing. Your deposits show you what you are physically sowing out there. What value are you giving out there when it comes to our seniors? If you're not happy with your deposits, it's because you didn't sow enough. You didn't sow enough, or you didn't sow it the right way. You threw your seed on maybe, concrete versus fertile soil. AKA, you're not going to your coach and asking, please help me. I love when somebody says, I need help. I need help. Can I get your opinion on this? Can I get your opinion? I always know Jordan will answer my call or my text. If I say, hey, I need to get your opinion on this, can you call me? No joke. Okay, do that. I dare you, double dog dare you. Sowing in the investment of leads, sowing in the investment of the communication between you and your direct coach. If there's not been a coaching little session, even like an indirect, it didn't have to be charted in your calendar, but if there's not a communication between you and your direct coach outside the field, you're failing. You're failing. You really are. You're playing this egotistical, prideful, arrogant person that you know everything. Fantastic. Let's see how far you go. Let's see the next time you have a struggle, see what that looks like. Guys, you want to have that relationship with somebody that is invested in you, that is vested in your success. The deposits, they really prove as to what you are physically doing out there on the field. Don't be afraid to invest in your business. The average entrepreneur out there spends what? $200,000 to $300,000 in the first 5 months of their business in 2023. Out there in traditional United States corporate America, if you want to be an entrepreneur in traditional business, guess what? You're going to spend $200,000 to $300,000. You maybe won't turn a profit for 3 years, and you can turn a profit here in the first full month with us. That's amazing. Amazing. Sowing the best version of you every single day. A lot of people, I ask them, hey, do I look exhausted? Hopefully I don't look exhausted. I got a compliment the other day from one of Dustin's buddies. He was like, man, Ashley looks younger every time I see her. And I'm like, excellent. It's because I'm alive. It's because I'm excited, right? And man, people that are depressed, man, they get wrinkles and stuff like that. So listen, you want to make sure that you're sowing the best version of yourself, even if you feel bad, even if it's raining outside, even if you got a stomach ache or all hell is broken loose in your household and your kids are psycho. Make sense? Can you, just like what Laura said about emotional intelligence, can you manage yourself? Because you have to live with yourself every single day. Deposits speak to your liabilities. Holy sugar nuts, write that down. Deposits speak to your liabilities. I didn't get this result because I performed lazily, right? I didn't get this result because I performed lazily. Well, I stopped tracking my numbers. I stopped doing call heads. I stopped, going after lunch because I didn't get any presentations. None of the seniors were home. Have we heard that one, right? Oh, well, this was a lead and nobody was home. They died. Maybe they moved. This is a bad lead. This is a bad area. It's like you blame everything on everybody else. And then you wonder why you are not where you are in life. It's because of the way you think. Being rich is hard, but so is being poor. Make sense? Choose your hard. Follow the systems. Your success will be predictable. And this is kind of in closing, folks, okay? Follow the systems. Your success will be predictable. Legit. You guys, some of you are introverts, extroverts, some of you are young, old, doesn't matter any of that. What matters is what value are you putting into the minutes of your day? Are you mastering this? Or are you watching TV for the next 3 hours? Are you going on your Facebook, going on your timeline as if that actually really physically matters? No, it doesn't. What are you doing to invest in the value of yourself so that you can pour the value into your generational legacy in your line? These systems, they save you time. When was the last time you went to the agent dashboard and just kind of went and engrossed yourself into the videos, into seeing a Craig Harvey and seeing a Chad Milner and seeing what Jordan Smith or Keith Thomason or this partner or that, just going and just reveling in it and taking notes? Write these things down. We all know change and progress takes time. I know Laura talked about that. Okay. It's going to take time. Success is like the seed. It's got to go down before it goes up. And a lot of you don't realize that. You want the results right now. You want the progress right now. It's working even when you don't see it working if you're following the systems and you're focusing on your daily routine. It's got to go down before it goes up. You're going to have to go through a struggle. You're going to have to go through family members and friends that think you're an idiot for doing insurance. Guess what? They're not going to be laughing 6 months from now, right? Like Ty, I think he's on here right now, but gosh, Ty, who's 18 years old, graduated from high school. Adam, another graduate from high school, 18 years young, looking at this. Could you imagine the studentship if they would just follow the system? Imagine what their life can be like when they're 21 and 22 years old. So that is the key there, folks. And then I'm going to go ahead and throw it back to you, Miss Laura, so we can wrap this rascal up.
Yes. Okay. So in closing, not even 5 minutes, like 2 minutes left. What I want you guys to do, and we're all about self-reflection. I think the only way that you see your progress is by looking back at and rating yourself in certain areas and understanding you in each part of the process. So a few things, the RIP, the Remedial Improvement Performance Plan, we have it every Tuesday morning from 9 to 9:30. If you're in your first 90 days, be on that bad boy. If you're on the cusp of 10K club, be on that bad boy. There's always something that you can be learning that's going to make you develop to that 10K rider, which is what the standard that makes you profitable. That makes you $100,000 earner by implementing the things that are on that RIP. Last thing, reflect and rate yourself. Write these down if you can. I'm going to go rapid fire. So get your pens ready. I want you to rate yourself in these 14 areas. Okay. And if you feel led to put it in your in and up thread with your direct coaches, do it. Okay. So rate yourself on your door approach. How well do you believe that you are on your door approach? Knowing your 4 A's, getting through objections on that door approach. The call ahead. Are you skipping the call ahead? Are you skipping it? Just not doing the call aheads because it's outside of your comfort zone, right? You've learned the door in the field, but you don't want to do the phone. Don't do that. Make yourself well-rounded. So rate yourself on the call ahead. And when I'm telling you to rate yourself, do an A through F. Give yourself an A through an F, A, B, C, D, or an F. Number 3, 10 steps to the presentation. Do you know those 10 steps to the presentation, or when you get in the car with your direct coach that you don't know what step 5 is? Okay. Rate yourself. Have you mastered step 4? Have you mastered step 4? That's number 4. The transition into life insurance. Do you know your transition to life insurance? If I were to call you to come off of mute like I did Micah, can you give me your transition to life insurance without even blinking? Have you practiced that? Have you recorded it? Number 5, active living benefits. It's a grocery cart. You don't have to be, the end all be all with every single one of them, but are you familiar with the living benefits? Rate yourself on that. E-apps. How well can you go through and find the e-applications and navigate those on your back office? Have you called the carriers to walk you through? That is not your direct coach's job. Trust me, it's not. That's your job to call them and to figure it out, because we're not physically in the home with you. We can't navigate it for you. Okay. So know those bad boys. In and ups. Are you doing them? And do you know how to do an effective one? Are you giving medication or conditions and then medications? Because when you call and you give us the medications, we could be driving, we could be doing whatever, but can you actually say, hey, these are the top 5 conditions? They're a heart attack. They've had a heart attack 5 years ago and diabetes with neuropathy. The main medications that I've Googled that are important are X, Y, and Z. And then we can follow up any other medications and kind of go from there. Okay. Do you know how to do a good in and up? Book of business. Rate yourself on how consistent you are with that book of business. Do you have a process, a method to your madness? One of the things that Asia does that I love is that while she's in the home, she has her little book of business out and she updates that bad boy when she's in the home before she even leaves the house. Okay. Love it. Back office, pending business follow-up. Rate yourself on how well you do that, how good you are at that. This is a good one. Number 10 is your attitude. Rate yourself on your attitude. Like, seriously. What are the words that come out of your mouth? What are the thoughts that you think that you may or may not say? What does your attitude look like? How does it come across to the people that are coaching you, or even yourself? Do you even want to be around you? Rate yourself on that. 11, are you a team player? Are you a team player? Because guess what? To be great, you have to care about other people, not just you. Okay. So do you give to your team? Because guess what? There's a percentage of you that will have your own team. And when you don't have a team player, you'll remember if you were a team player or not. Point blank. Okay. That saying, you want to go, fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. It's really true in this business. If you want to go far, be a team player. Number 12, do you do what you say that you're going to do? Write yourself on, do you do what you say that you're going to do? Do you stay true to your word? If you say that you're going to do a ride along with your coach, do you follow through with the ride along, or do you stand them up? I've had someone do that to me. It does not feel good. Okay. Do you deliver your policies to your clients when you tell them that you're going to do that? Number 13, do you trust the system and the process? Straight up like a heart attack. Do you trust it? That's another ism for you. Straight up like a heart attack. I said that a couple times. You want to write that down, Ash? Do you trust the system and do you trust the process? I'm going to add this one. And do you trust your coach? Do you trust your coach? They're the ones that brought you into the business. You have to trust them. If you're in a relationship that there's no trust, and if there's a reason or something's unsaid, just go handle it. Have a conversation, figure it out. Okay. Trust is so important in any business relationship. It stops growth. It wreaks havoc if it's not there. Do you trust the system, the process, and your coach? Number 14, last one. What are you taking for granted? What are you taking for granted? Go back to remember why you got into this business and what got you so excited, what got you going through pre-licensing, what got you out in the field in the first place. Are you taking that for granted now that you have a little bit of success, or you're getting it a little bit, or you're seeing, that there's not all 100% like just all gravy, that there's a little bit of stuff that, you don't like because it's actual work, or it is a job still. It is a career. Like, you're going to have those things. What are you taking for granted? And those are just the 14 that I think are important. There's a lot there, but rate yourself A through F on those things, and text your direct coach, text your in and up thread. Say, hey, this is the real raw. This is kind of where I'm at. It's okay, because it helps us really understand you better and how to help you better, because we can't read your minds. We don't know where you're really struggling unless you tell us. We don't know if there's something, that's hidden, that's not being said unless you tell us. Okay. We're trained to read the situation and to read people because we're in sales, but that doesn't mean that we're, more than human. We are still human. Okay. But anyway, with that being said, again, rate yourself on those. Follow the system. It's predictable if you are. That's the main thing. Focus on your trackers, the deposit tracker, your weekly submitted tracker, your daily activity tracker. Remember that execution creates conviction, which creates consistency, which creates confidence. Always go back to your last month or your last quarter and look at your progress and rate yourself on that. Know what that day, what your day should look like, and implement the standards. 10 to 15 presentations, 3,500 to 5,000, doing your in and ups, taking the emotion out of it. Seriously. And you are like the insurance world is your oyster. Okay. And without further ado, we'll get you out of here. And I can't wait to see who hits the 10K club. Yeah. I'm excited.
Right.
Right.
I would just end on this one. Phenomenal job, Laura. I'm just so grateful for every single one of you agents. I mean, all of you, I mean, goodness gracious, there's so many. I was writing everybody's names down. Allison, Jessica, Chris, Nick, I mean, Donna, all of you folks right now. We are so honored to have you aboard this team and representing North American Senior Benefits. And I just want to remind you on this last thing, okay? You are called to your purpose. Maybe it's God's purpose, maybe it's your purpose, whatever it is, but you're called to your purpose, not your comfort zone, not your secure of convenience, if that makes any sense. You're not called to your comfort, okay? You're not called to a convenient life. And I just want everybody to remember that, you know, you're going to get disruptions. That doesn't mean there's going to be destruction in your life. Sometimes a disruption is exactly what you needed in order to go to the next step. Okay. So just think a little bit differently about things. And if you don't know how to think, just guys, reach up. This is what we're here for. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, Laura, for taking your time. Thank you to everybody for taking their time. Y'all make it a great night. Let's go.